So this is the presentation of the Global Varnasharama Initiative. The Global Village Initiative Committee. Actually, everyone knows that really we're the Global Varnasharama Committee, but a few prefer that we don't use that word, which is a little we find a little odd because Prabhupada was very free in using the word Varnashrama, and it features more than 2,000 times in the database. And even in Russia, Prabhupada freely discussed Varnashrama in his famous conversations with Professor Kotowski. But anyway, we realize it's an area of confusion, and our team has made it its primary purpose at this time to bring definition to the word and to demonstrate its application. Education is a very important aspect of this particular work. So we know that the ILS has been formed because we want to improve ISKCON, and there are some problems in our society over the years. And one only has to study Prabhupada's instructions regarding Varnashram development to discover that many of the problems would vanish if we understood and followed the culture of Varnashram properly. So what follows are the results of some of the teamwork we've been doing. And you can see the team. Hopefully that's still showing there on the screen there.
It is showing.
So from the top, this side is Bhakti Dhira Damodar Maharaj from West Africa. Paramatma Prabhu from Guyana is the next one, moving to the right. Then I'm the next one along there. Then Gokul Prabhu from Australia. Vrindavan Leela from India. Gora Keshava from India. Gaur Gopal Prabhu from India. And then of course we have Balabhadra, our Cow Protection and Agriculture Minister from North America. We've got Radhakrishna Prabhu from Hungary. Bhakti Raghava Swami, originally from Canada. Shalagram Prabhu from North America. Bharat Chandra Prabhu from India, and of course Dhanesvara Prabhu from currently preaching in Ukraine and from North America. So we thought we'd go over a few of the different myths surrounding Varnashram Dharma, and we tried to illuminate it a little bit in order to bring everyone a little closer to understanding the solutions that there could be. And one myth,
you're quite correct that there's a lot of myths about Varnashram. This is actually one of probably the most confused and misunderstood area of Prabhupada's teaching. Primarily because Prabhupada didn't write so much about it in his books, but he did speak about it quite a bit to his leaders. And those conversations have been compiled into this one book by Hari Krsna Dasi in 1992, almost, I guess, 20 years ago. This book speaking about Varnashram, which is available over here on an underground display next door. But one of those myths, one of the very common ones that we encounter if we're speaking about Varnashram culture is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he rejected Varnashram, and therefore what do we have to do with it?
So it's interesting because that's widely misunderstood, because actually the quote that we find in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is as follows. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Rai, recite a verse from the revealed scriptures concerning the ultimate goal of life. So we know that when Ramananda suggested Varnashram, Mahaprabhu rejected it. But he rejected it as the ultimate goal. That's what the conversation was about, the ultimate goal. But we can see by Mahaprabhu's personal activity that he actually accepted sannyas. Sannyas being a crucial part of the whole Varnashram system. So Mahaprabhu himself actually followed Varnashram. And then this misunderstanding also was brought to Srila Prabhupada here in Mayapur actually, about 35 years ago on February the 14th, 1977. Prabhupada was speaking about Varnashram and he said, so the Varnashram Dharma should be introduced all over the world. And then Satsarup Maharaj stopped and he said, introduced starting with the ISKCON community? And Prabhupada said, yes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, there must be regular education. And then Harishori jumps in and he says, but in our community, if they're being, as we're training up as Vaishnavas, Prabhupada, yes, then Harishori, how will we be able to make divisions in the society? And then Prabhupada says, Vaishnava is not so easy. The Varnashram Dharma should be established to become a Vaishnava. It's not so easy to become a Vaishnava. And then Harishori says, no, it's not a cheap thing. Then again, Prabhupada, yes, therefore this should be made. Vaishnava. To become a Vaishnava is not so easy. If a Vaishnava, to become Vaishnava is so easy, why so many are falling down? Fall down. It is not easy. The sannyas is for the highest qualified brahmana, and simply by dressing like a Vaishnava, that is fall down. So that's one sort of myth that's kind of grown up, that Mahaprabhu rejected Varnasharama. And there's another myth that we commonly hear, and that is that Varnasharama-dharma is a caste system promoting feelings of superiority, hatred, and envy.
Actually, you're quite right. As Kali Yuga has progressed, the Varnashram system has become degraded to what Prabhupada calls a Surak Varnashram, specifically because people are thinking that simply how your Varna is determined by your birth alone, without considering any of your qualities. But Krishna, of course, he explains, Krishna is the person who established the system. We know the famous verse Prabhupada chanted so many times, Shaturvanyamaya-sristam gunakarma vibhagasha. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of the human society are created by me. So based on that, Prabhupada said, in any condition, there will always be Varnashram system. It's simply a matter of whether it's the proper Varnashram system or some, let's say, improper version of it. And just to add to that, Srila Prabhupada, in Civilization and Transcendence, Prabhupada there is saying that this so-called caste system in India is a false notion of Chaturvanyam, the system of four social divisions. The real system of Chaturvanyam means guna karma vibhagasha, determination of the four social divisions according to quality and work. One must be qualified. Now, how about this, Samba? We often hear many devotees talking about that Varnasharama is simply about farms, and I'm not interested in being a farmer, so therefore Varnasharama is not for me.
So, yeah, agriculture, we know that the basic economy that humanity has grown up with for thousands of years has been agriculture. That's the basis of economy. It's actually the most profitable economy, as Rich says in his one of his presentations, that you put one seed of rice in the ground and you get 100 seeds back as a return. So it's the most noble profession. And it's the economic base of Varnashram culture. But Varnashram culture includes all aspects of society, such as the arts, as we saw this morning, a nice presentation of the arts from Bhakti Maharaj. So many different skilled trades, medicine, law, architecture, all these different things. So in other words, Varnashram culture means an entire culture. It's self-sufficient. So ultimately, we would need to produce all the things that we need. At one time, Prabhupada said, we are ISKCON, a society independent from outside help. So Prabhupada said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the life of a human being is a chance to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead, or to get rid of the material existence, the repetition of birth and death. Thus, in the system of Varnashram Dharma, every man and woman is trained for this purpose. In other words, the system of Varnashram Dharma is known also as Sanatan Dharma, or the eternal occupation. The system of Varnashram Dharma prepares a man for going back to Godhead. So, another myth. We only got a few. We're on the fourth one. There's just a couple more. Vaishnavas do not require to follow Varnashram Dharma.
Yes, Prabhupada did make some statements like that Vaishnava, he is above Varnashram. And Prabhupada was clearly trying to make the point, and he said this also in the February 14th, 1977 conversation here in Mayapur, that this is not for us, but it's for the population in general. Prabhupada stated that the Varnashram system is meant to turn a crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord, and that it's meant to pave the way back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada was a social revolutionary. He didn't simply intend that he would collect a few devotees in his society who would go back to Godhead, but he actually wanted to change the face of the entire world and establish the Bhagavad culture everywhere. And as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, verses 325 and 326, the people in general, they require leadership to give example how to live. And if we don't give that proper example as Vaishnavas by following the Varnasharama system, then the people will follow our example and ignore it. So Krishna says there, as the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to the results, similarly, the learned may also act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Let not the wise disrupt the minds of the ignorant who are attached to fruitive action. They should not be encouraged to refrain from work, but to engage in work in the spirit of devotion. Now, as well, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he states that with the assistance of Varnasharama-dharma, a person should also cultivate bhakti. So this takes us back to that initial quote someone was reading from Prabhupada, that we should introduce, that Varnasharama-dharma should be introduced in ISKCON. And Prabhupada said, why? Because so many devotees are falling down. And there in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that with the assistance of Varnasharama, we cultivate bhakti to help us come to the stage of Vaishnava. And then once coming again to that platform of Vaishnava, still our example is required. How about this, Samba? Varnasharama-dharma cannot be implemented in the modern day. That's another thing that we hear quite widely said.
So, Prabhupada's secretary, Tamal Krsna Maharaj, in 1977, August, he wrote to Harishori and he quoted Prabhupada. He said, "This is the next aspect of Krishna consciousness which I want to push forward. If I am able to travel again, then I shall visit the farms and make them perfect. On these farms we can demonstrate the full Varnashram system. If these farms become successful, then the whole world will be enveloped by Krishna consciousness. More devotees, happier devotees." So Prabhupada had this massive vision that by implementing Varnashrama, the whole world will be enveloped by Krishna consciousness. So then this is our last point, number 6, the myth that implementing Varnashrama-dharma is not the goal of ISKCON.
Well, we may say that it's not the goal, but it's certainly one of the goals. In the incorporation of ISKCON in 1966, Srila Prabhupada wrote, as one of the purposes of the society was to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler, more natural way of life. Prabhupada stressed this in a letter to Harisari, the same letter quoted above. Srila Prabhupada wants you to develop this farm very nicely, as it will be the future program to present to the world as an ideal of Krishna consciousness. In the cities we are interested for preaching, but we cannot present the ideal Varnashram system. This is only possible at the farms, so they are very important. And then on a morning walk in Vrindavan in 1974, Prabhupada said, so everywhere, in each center, this system should be introduced, and there must be a practical application of Varnashram. At the same time, this program of devotional service should go on. Then everything will go on very nicely. But if you show that you are actually doing something ideal, then they will appreciate. Make a small unit of community and show the ideal life. Not idle life, ideal life. And then, of course, we have Abhiram Prabhu. He was reminiscing on the last days that Srila Prabhupada was with us, how Prabhupada was speaking with him about Varnashram. And he did make the statement to Abhiram, that Abhiram overheard. He said that Prabhupada said that Varnashram he considered to be 50% of his mission. So, although we may not consider it the purpose of ISKCON, Prabhupada considered it 50% of his mission. And therefore, we should also take it very seriously as certainly an important part of what Srila Prabhupada wanted to contribute to the world in Krishna consciousness. Again, in order to appreciate Prabhupada's instructions for Varnasharama-dharma, if you haven't seen this book, if you haven't read it, please get a copy. It's available over there at Nandagram. At this Nandagram display, we are showing some very nice village technologies. Gokul Prabhu and his wife Vilasini Manchari, they're presenting this afternoon a seminar on creating a village, creating a sustainable community. And Mataji, she's also has brought her spinning wheel all the way from Australia to demonstrate the art of spinning threads. Also this afternoon, there's a workshop on disaster management given by Dr. Yogesh Chandra Prabhu. And so we invite you, please come on over, have a look at those displays, try, enter into the spirit of what this world needs in terms of its future development. We may consider that everything in the world will go on as it is indefinitely, but you know, history has shown us time and again that things do change, and we want to be prepared not only for ourselves but to help others to live a simple life, a happy life in Krishna consciousness. More devotees, happier devotees. Thank you very much.